Okay, so this is I think part 5. So the shell is basically finished. I still have a lot of detail to put on the top, smokestacks, and there's like 4 coats of enamel on this thing, flat black. It's going to be wet sanded with 800 grit paper, and then I am going to have what they call Brunswick green. It's a Pennsylvania green. I'm going to actually use this and bring it to a place, have them match the paint, and put it in spray cans for me. Now the chassis is just about done. It hasn't been tested. It's going to have dual motors like the Bowser. It's going to have one in the rear and one in the front. So these trucks are completely independent. The height needs to be adjusted. So right now I just have kind of screwing in to plastic. Once I figure out exactly where it's going to go, pieces of metal that are threaded are going to be bonded to the bottom part of the shell to hold this thing together. Right now it is together, and the only piece that's bonded is the centerpiece right here. The rest of it is just screwed into basically epoxy. So this is the chassis. So what originally I had was 2 different frames. I pieced them together, moved this piston back about 1/8 of an inch, left this one where it was. I added some detail to this front. This is the front rivarossi leading truck, and it didn't have any detail at all. It was just wheels, so that came off of a freight car or something. I just shaved it down with a razor blade. I gotta sand it, get it into shape. So this is gonna be slightly articulated. See how it moves? It's not gonna need to move that much. It's probably only maybe move 1/8 of an inch. On the bottom here, inside here, I am going to have basically almost like a piece of flat stock that's slightly spring-loaded, and then there'll be a guide for it to ride on. There's no weight in this thing at all, so it really doesn't sit correctly. If I see how it moves up and down, that'll be fixed once it's got weight in it. That's the nose. I do have a lens that's going to go in there, and I have a lens that's going to go down in there, and this is going to get painted. Like I said, this is going to be bronze green is the color for the locomotive. I have a bunch of other stuff that needs to go here. I'll do that after I wet sand it, because it's got to be wet sanded. And I am even going to attempt to have little tiny rivets. I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to attempt that, because it might not work. But hopefully within a week, this thing will be all sanded down and painted the correct color, and that'll be that. So some of the stuff needs to be fixed. This is a piece of the linkage that was cut off that I don't need, so that's going to be taken off. And I don't know exactly what I have to do with that, because you need to hold that when you tighten up that 3mm nut or bolt from rivarossi. You need to hold it or it strips the plastic. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Maybe round it off a little bit, clean it up. Or flip it in the other direction. But there's one in the front too that needs to be fixed. These are a little beat up. They need to be wet sanded, smoothing them out. I think that's it. As you can see, this stuff, I took all the valve gear off because I didn't need it all. I'm gonna fix that. Out of whack. The T1 didn't have all that stuff. It has basically basic valve gear. And a lot of it was hidden as far as I could tell. So anyway, we got the steps in the front. And as you can tell, it's actually missing one stair. There should be one more, but yeah, it is what it is. I really don't think it's too bad. There's a lot of cleanup work to do. Like I said, detail needs to be added. A hatch needs to be added. This needs to be all sanded down. There's plenty of paint on there, so to fill the it was like scratch fill of paint primer was the first coat that they put on there. And that's that. These ladders right here, these came off of the back of a Union Pacific, one of these, and I extended the bottom, and then I used crazy glue and baking soda on the back side to give it some strength. I actually have to do it again to make them thicker. I gotta sand some of that paint off. And it was something I meant to do and I forgot. That's the back. Normally wouldn't have this extra thing. I really don't care about that. There's some sort of box that's going to be put there, and the bottom half I have to put there, and I'm going to put a plug there because this is probably going to get DCC if it runs correctly. And that's pretty much it. So this is articulated, even though the original ones weren't. It was either that or take the flanges off the the front wheels on the rear truck and the rear wheels on the. I really didn't want to do that, but it would have made the job a lot easier. I could have made one big long frame, but if you do it that way, it barely will run on 22 radius curves, like the Broadway Limited and some of the other brands out there that do the same thing. They barely run. They look horrible running on. They're designed for 30-inch radius. And my layout has 33s, 33 and a half, 35s, a lot of 22s and a few 18s. And it's got a lot of switches that they're cheap. So they're turnouts that don't come out straight. So you got a little bit of a S-curve action going. I am going to post a video soon about how to take an old turnout that we'll say is straight with an 18-degree radius coming off of it and basically turn that turn into flex track where you can make it come straight out. I don't know if anybody's ever done it before. I have not seen any videos. I actually have done it with the cheap Bachmann Easy Track ones. So I will get around to that. So anyway, back to this train. So this is mounted solid, and this turns, and there is a small spring. See the spring action? There's a small spring underneath there. And like I said, this basically is going to have like a leaf going from left to right for this to rest to guide on. It's kind of springy. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. I came this far. So that's that. If you have any comments, feel free. Let me know what you think. If you have any suggestions, I'm more than happy to listen to them or read them. I pulled an all-nighter and worked on this thing last night, and then I went straight to work. So I'm exhausted, and it's 1:30 in the morning. So I'm out. Hopefully I'll have part 6 soon. Thank you.